Guys, I don't know what to say. Actually, I'm lying. I know what to say. We won a game of football. Yes, for the first time. I actually should have looked this up before I start recording this. I don't know how many weeks it's been, but I know for the first time in 6 games in all competitions, and I know for the first time in 4 Premier League games, I'm able to sit here on a match reaction, not yell, not scream. I might a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. I'm probably loud as I speak right now, but not rage, because we actually won a game of football. After how many losses and draws in a row? I think it was 2 draws in the Europa League and then 1 loss in the league. It's a bunch of draws and losses in a row is all I'm trying to say. Like, I couldn't tell you when's the last time we won a game. I think the last time we won a game was the 7-0 against Barnsley, because I remember we didn't beat Palace. We didn't win in the Europa League. We didn't beat Spurs. It's been an absolute shit show, but we won a game of football today. But you would think, with the way I'm speaking, if you didn't watch the game, it looked like it was an easy game. No, it wasn't, because look at the score up here, 2-1, but that 2-1 was kind of hard fought. I want to break it down into sections, and before I talk about the game, obviously smash a like on the video, obviously subscribe. Big up for 6K. Now let's reach 7K. That game was a bit of a roller coaster, but let me call out this guy first before I talk about the game. Thomas Frank, you failed the audition today. This whole international break, all we heard about is Ten Hag getting sacked, is Ten Hag staying, is Ten Hag getting sacked, is Ten Hag staying. And then we start hearing about Tuchel now went to England, so that makes Thomas Frank the number 1 option. And today was the audition, and you got the red buzzer, like America's Got Talent, and you got X'd off the stage. Because they started the game well, then completely died. And listen, they even took the lead in the first half, which we'll get to in a second. But then, I'm not gonna lie, it's one of the worst Brentford games I saw. You know, I even made a joke and said we're the first team to not concede a goal from Brentford in the first 2 minutes in the last 4 games, basically. Because imagine that, that's crazy. 4 games in a row, they scored a goal in the first opening 2 minutes until today. But they were absolutely bad today. Like, I'm not gonna lie. It's one of the worst Brentford games I've seen. Like, I actually gave Thomas Frank praise during the week. I said every time he sees Ten Hag, he outcoaches Ten Hag. Last season, we remember we needed a McTominay brace in the last... I can't even say the last 5 minutes, because it was added time where he scored twice for us to win. And then, obviously, when we went away to them, we all remember that one game where they had 85 plus touches. They set up a record or something like that. Today, that was a shell of that Brentford team that I've seen. Lie. So Thomas Frank, not a good look on you today. Your team didn't look good going forward, and your team didn't defend well. You probably played like 15-20 minutes in the beginning of the game today, and that's it. And Buemo, absolute ghost. Wissa was on the bench, so he came in on late and didn't really have an impact. Flecken, probably one of the worst goalkeepers I've ever seen. Every time he conceded a shot from Garnacho, he looked like he was struggling. I'm not gonna lie, none of these strikes really looked that good. Obviously, besides the goal, which we'll get into. Brentford today, I know the score is close, but they took the lead and they really weren't convincing. I'm gonna be honest with you. But let's talk about United a little bit. That first half, outside of Højlund, I can't really name a lot of positives in that first. I really didn't enjoy that first half. That first half did not look good. Højlund's link-up play was good. How can I say this about Højlund? His game, listen, I've been very critical of his game last season. This season, he's looking a little bit different in terms of he doesn't really do a lot of the, and I don't want to say that people like to say like twerking on defenders. He just gave up the wrestling a little bit, and his link-up play is looking a little bit better. I think his hold-up play still needs a lot of work, but today his link-up play was amazing. And it's funny that I've noticed most of his link-up play is just one touch back heels. If that works for you, bro, just keep it going. You know, just don't overthink it. Don't take too many touches. Don't hold up the ball, but then you're stuck because you don't know what to do next, because you're probably technically not that sound on the ball. But his link up today was very good. And that goal that he scored, I don't want to skip and get to it because I want to talk about the goals in order, but that goal was very well taken. But I'll save that to when we get to it in a minute or two. But that first half, we struggled. We struggled. And listen, if you watched the watch along, shout out yourself. And if you did it, just go to the timestamp for the goals. I have absolutely lost my head in that first goal. If we didn't win today, that would have been my sole focus today on the match reaction. How? Oh my God. I'm still getting angry thinking about it. We won and I'm calm now. But at the moment, I absolutely lost my head. How does a player get his head busted open and bleeds and gets sent off to get treatment 3 times. And I was looking at it. First of all, he started bleeding in the first like 15 minutes. So it happened super early. And then in the last 2 minutes, where we consider a couple corners, the referee tells him to go off because he was bleeding all over the place. So he's like, you got to get treated. And we conceded a corner at that same time. And I was like, bro, if we concede right now, it's going to look silly on us because one of our tallest players, the center back, has to go off right now because he's bleeding. And then we don't concede. And then he comes back on. And then we concede another corner. And then the referee again tells him to go off. And I'm like, I'm looking at it. And I'm like, who's the medical team, the doctor, whatever you want to call him? How many times does the player need to come off for you to understand that you need to put a Band-Aid on his head? You know when they tie up their head with something, or they put that medical cap on, whatever, when players bleed? The fact that he didn't put like that net, the fact that he didn't put anything on him, it just really annoyed me, because we're conceding corner after corner to end the half, and I need my center back, I need one of my tallest players to be there. And how ironic was it that we conceded from that corner? And I absolutely lost my head, because at this point we've reached new ways for people to laugh at us. Like, rivals are generally enjoying United games because it's like, it's not, are United going to lose? It's like, how do United lose? Or how do United concede goals? Because in that first half, to leave 1-0, losing 1-0, I absolutely lost my head. And the fact that I couldn't criticize players or a manager, I had to criticize the doctor for it. And I'm like, this club is reaching new levels to how, like, have their fans absolutely lose their shit. Like, how do you can't treat him 3 times? Like, at what point do you say, let me stop half-assing whatever I'm doing? I'm going to take, instead of taking 30 seconds, I'm going to take a whole 3 minutes or whatever, but I make sure that shit is sealed so he doesn't have to come off again. And ironically, he comes off and we concede from a corner and it's a header because we don't have anyone to mark that near post. And that's 100% on the doctor. Like, what is going on? Like, you're telling me no one on the bench went up to the doctor and be like, yo, take a deep breath, relax, don't half-ass whatever you're doing, because he keeps coming back. He's still bleeding, so you're technically doing something wrong. Take a minute, wrap up that shit so he can come back on and he doesn't have to come off again. Like, no one said that. But let's get to the second half, because it's one of the halves where I can finally praise United this season. We usually come out at the second half, and I say that during the halftime talk, I don't know what Ten Hag says, because we always come on the second half looking like a worse team than the first half. Today, finally, I saw the opposite. We scored in the first minute of the second half, and I don't know what was better, the cross or the finish. Garnacho, as much as I criticize his ball striking, there's something weird about this kid. He can actually hit the ball in the air better than he does when it's on the ground. I don't know why. Like, when the ball's on the ground, most times, when you look at it when he tries to shoot from far distances, his shot is really never generates power. It's never that precise. It's usually easier for the goalkeeper to save than that. Like, 9 times out of 10, his shot is not that good. But that one, the volley today that he hit, I understand people might think it was easy because it was close to goal, but to hit a ball that high in the air and to get perfect connection on it is really not that hard. It's really not that easy. Like, it's difficult to do. And today he did that. That was an amazing cross from Rashford and a very good finish. I will not dismiss the rest of Garnacho's game. I'm probably going to save it to another stream where I talk about it, but his game overall today wasn't good enough. He did score the goal, but he didn't play that good. I'm sorry to disappoint people. Rashford, however, I felt like it was in his mojo today. He looks like he's trying and he's picking up a little bit of his old form, and I'm cool with that. Like, today he didn't leave with a goal, but like, he still played well. Like, he probably should have had 2 assists if Xerxes didn't miss that chance in the last 10 minutes. He didn't even miss a chance. He missed like an opportunity to have a shot, because the ball, I don't know, he just couldn't control it. But anyways, the second goal is probably the best goal of them all, because the pass into Bruno, and I just know Bruno, like, I know Bruno so much because I've watched so much of his football over the years. I just knew that was going to be a first-time flick from him. And that's the best thing about Bruno's game. Bruno's game, when it's so simple and simplified like this, he looks very good. And this is why, like, I need people to understand, criticism does not mean that when players start doing the right thing that you owe them apologies. Because I always hear that. I always hear people making fun of each other saying, oh, apologize to this player, apologize to that player. No, when players start doing more of what you want from them and doing less of what frustrates you, you need to give them praise for it, but you also don't own them. I'm not going to say sorry, Bruno, because you had a good game today. I'm going to say good job, Bruno, because you had a good game today. Equally, Højlund, his game was much simpler today. He started doing the things that he doesn't do. that run in behind for Bruno to find that flick, and obviously the finish is amazing. I knew he was going to do that chip. I've seen him do it a few times, and it was a great finish. That's probably the best goal we scored all season. I can't remember us scoring a lot of goals, so I'm just going to put that. But that goal completely was good. That whole thing was good. So you got to give him a shout out for it. But we need to do more of that second half throughout the game because the first half wasn't good enough. We weren't creating anything. Like, I don't remember big chances for us in the first half like that. There wasn't really anything remarkable to talk about in our front line. But the second half, much better. And now we get West Ham next, and they don't have kudos, and they're in a bit of a shit show themselves. They only have one win in 8. I'm seeing some West Ham fans already calling out Lopetegui. And as I said, Kudus is going to be out, their best player. They're frustrated. They can't even implement their new players in. Let's go make it 2 out of 2. I think it's very important now to take advantage of this West Ham team. I think that they have a stat where, like, last time I checked it, they were the team that conceded the most shots in the league. I don't know if it's changed since. I think there was like game week 5. So it's been 3 games since. But overall, their midfield is just non-existent. So we need to go into next game and keep that form. Actually, I can't say keep that form. Build up form. You need consistency to say you're in form. So I expect us to go next week against West Ham, and I expect nothing less than a battering. You need to send a message. You need to send a message. If Ten Hag wants to turn this around, he needs to put a few games like this and better in a row. And I expect that next game. But listen, the positives are, listen, we could joke about it and all that, but we left with 3 points. I know I'm going to do the shameless thing and we laugh about it together because if you don't laugh, you cry. I said on my stream, I was like, oh yeah, we're sitting 10th right now. Haha, we're finally in the top half of the table. We're no longer the least scoring. Because I'm going to tell you guys this. We almost hit a drought today. It was almost 3.5. We ended it at 3.5 games in a row without a goal. If we didn't score today, it would have been the first time since 1989 that we didn't score in 4 games in a row. So we dodged that. And I think we haven't lost to Brentford in like 80 years in a row. To be fair, they spent most of them in the championship, but you know what I mean. So today, finally got some goals. We're no longer sitting last in goals scored because when Southampton scored 2 against Leicester in the first half, we were sitting rock bottom. We were at 5 goals. No one had less goals than us. Now we have 7. So we have actually more than Ipswich, Palace, and Southampton right now. So we're no longer sitting in the bottom of these metrics. But listen, a lot of improvement is still needed. It's just I'm just happy it's another day, like another week where I don't have to sit here and my whole weekend is ruined. So I'm taking that positive. But let me know what you thought about the game. Get in the comments section and let me know what you thought about the game and what you think about the performances from the manager and the players and all that stuff. And I'll see you guys on the next stream.